Hello and welcome! This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Hearts of Iron 4, continuing on with my Free India campaign. And at this point, we're a free nation, and we've been making our mission to make other nations a little bit less free. So we've absorbed Nepal, Tibet, and Afghanistan. At this moment, we're kind of sitting tight. Now, I loaded in a save game file, and it looks like the call to arms for the Soviet Union has disappeared. So hopefully it will come back, because I did not accept it before saving the game and quitting out. I guess I should have realized that might have been a possibility. Some things I would like to do, though, before we get started, is I'd like to move my planes over to an airfield that's a little bit closer to the action. Unfortunately, I do not have that many airfields over here that are really close to the action. This is probably the closest one. More than likely, we'll be going more after Siam anyway, so that's, better call the base here anyway. But that's what we're going to do, and that's going to fill this airfield to capacity. I could have planned ahead and actually built some airfields over here, but considering all the other stuff that I have to build to make this nation a little bit better, I think that's okay. As a matter of fact, I am going to also move this civilian factory up so that we're always working on building more civilian factories before we get onto the military factories. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to do. Oh, actually there is. I wanted to adjust the armored division. I was taking a look at, or we could do motorized division. I was taking a look at the support companies that I have with the different divisions. And at the moment, my mountain division and my infantry division are full up, but my armored division and my motorized division are not. So I could upgrade them. I also have these other units. I could be doing these to try and increase the size of my army, because the Rani of all that stuff division does not have any support equipment, so that would actually be quicker to build. I think I'm going to build up the tank division. As a matter of fact, it looks like I didn't add anything here. So we'll go ahead and add a recon company and an engineer company. I could have swore I did that, but maybe I didn't save it. So we'll do that, and that will be the change for now. Okay, that may change when the tank is going to finish its recruitment. Right now it's projected to, well, it was predicted in February 5th. Now it's projected in March 1st because we changed some things. I will like to speed up time a little bit here. Okay, so I am hoping that we didn't auto-decline that. Let's make sure we're still in the same faction with the Soviet Union. And we are. I might have to actually ask them to join their war. Which honestly is not something I really want to do. So I might hold off. If it's not going to ask me, I'm not going to accept. Japan is not at war with the Soviet Union. They're not in good relations, but they'd be red if they were at war. So at the moment, Japan is not at war with the Soviet Union. It's possible that they will not do so either, because historically they didn't until close to the end, and that was more the Soviet Union doing that rather than Japan. So we'll just have to see. But for now, I'm going to try and bide my time and just see what happens. I suspect I'll get a call to arms at some point. Out of curiosity, you guys are at war with Germany. That's interesting. Does Germany not have any other allies involved in this war? Yeah, nobody else is involved. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't be, but at the moment, Italy, Vichy France, nobody else is involved in this war. Not Hungary. Wow, interesting. Okay. Now, it looks like they're still winning, but we'll just see. Again, I have no reason to actually enter the war, and if I did, I would not actually help the Soviet Union at all. So, hopefully they can hold out. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how well the AI fights here. It doesn't look like the Soviets actually put that many troops to fight against the Germans here. I really hope that they haven't done something stupid over here and put all their troops in one. I would like to get a summary of how their numbers, but apparently if I zoom out far enough to get that, it doesn't give it to me. There might be a map mode that better displays that. But I'm hoping that they don't have too many troops against Japan rather than against Germany. How many divisions does Germany have at this point? Yeah, and it looks like the Soviets only have 118 divisions against that. Maybe if these guys are included, which they're not even at the front right now. As a matter of fact, a good number of these divisions are not even at the front. So though the Soviet Union is getting absolutely smashed here, how many troops does the Soviet Union have? 319, so they're vastly outnumbered. Oh, we'll just have to see. This is a lot earlier than the Germans should have attacked. As a matter of fact, they should. Yugoslavia still exists. That should be gone well before this should have happened. So much for the historical, the historical AI. They have not really been following historical events all that much. Maybe the focuses they're doing are historical, but the times that they're doing things, not historical at all. Okay, what do we got here? So we just finished our tank research, and at this point I could go on to light tanks, the Valentine tank, and I have a 50% discount. I'm not going to do the Crusader medium tanks. I don't think it's a good idea to split up my research too much, and we do have that only one discount for armor right now, so I figure we go on to the next level of light tank and we just kind of stick with light tanks, and we'll research that. It's only going to take 52 days, so why not? And in the meantime, we will produce the brand new tank that we just got, which is the Matilda tank, which probably won't be in production more than a couple months, because it won't be that long before we have the better tech here. All right, well, I'm hoping that the Russian winter is kind of hurting the Germans as well, because they started their campaign in the winter, which is not really wise. Now, historically, the Germans did the attack on the Soviet Union a lot later than they would have liked to, but the Yugoslavian thing was a distraction, and kind of took their attention away and delayed the invasion of the Soviet Union, which was actually really hurt them because it was much later in the year and the winter fell before they could achieve a lot of the goals that they set out for. I mean, they did drive into the Soviet Union pretty far, but they didn't really capture some of the things that they would have liked to have captured, and they didn't defeat the Soviet Union before the winter came, which is really their goal. So, again, not historically what we're seeing here. Instead, the AI is attacking in the middle of the winter of 41, earlier than they normally would have by a significant margin. Okay, so I didn't pay attention to what we researched there, but I have a feeling it was probably the engineer company. So I'll just go over and switch over to the recon company as well, and that will be done in 129 days. And kind of just a waiting game at this point. We're not getting a call to arms, and even if I got it, I wouldn't do much with it. British Malaya has capitulated, so that's this fall of Singapore, more or less. So the Siamese Empire now has that. And I don't think it will be that long before we see French Indochina falling. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised how long they're holding out against the might of the Japanese and, well, Siamese army to an extent. Army. As a matter of fact, how many troops do the Siamese have? I would imagine it's going to be a decent number, 13 to 20. And that's versus our 33. So, I mean, we'd have a tough time fighting Siam by ourselves at this point. I mean, I'm trying to recruit troops here and increase those numbers. But for now, we're just going to watch the Soviets get driven back here. And hopefully they're able to turn it around before it gets too bad. I would really not like to see the Soviet Union collapse super early on. But you never really know with these campaigns when you have the AI involved how competent they're going to be. It looks like the Soviet AI is not really being particularly competent. But, you know, historically they did get, you know, their face smashed in pretty good. So we'll have to see. Just did our focus. So it's time to pick a new one. So we just finished modernizing the army. So the next thing we're going to do is Indian Gentlemen. I'm not at war, so I can't do this one. This might be a good reason why to join the war, because now I'm guaranteed to be at war if I do this one. But I'm a little bit concerned that the Soviet Union might lose. So we'll see. If that's the case, then we'll just obviously probably leave the faction and see what we can do on our own. I think at this point we're just going to stand by and wait. I would like to attack Iran, but at this point I really don't want to draw in the Axis to Iran. If because they might try and thwart us because we're part of the Comintern. We might get away with it as long as we stay out of the war, but I just want to see. I don't want to commit my troops to a war and then have Japan come after me. That would obviously be very bad. But we may see the Axis take over the world here without, any involvement from me. All right, we can modify the government. I think, as far as modifying the government, it would probably be some kind of military leader at this point, or we could up the conscription. I really don't want to do up the conscription yet, though, because of the downsides of that. We need to build up our army as quickly as we can. And I don't feel like manpower-wise we're really hurting in that category yet. So I think we're better off maybe just taking Chief of the Air Force here and then going with either the night operations. As a matter of fact, all of these things are good. I think I'm going to go with night operations, though, just so that we're, more effective all day long. I think that's a good call. And we do have more of these close support planes. I think I might even want to start thinking about getting fighters or something, maybe even an upgrade to what close support craft we have with our research. I'd like to get another research slot and devote it to that, maybe. We'll have to see. Out of curiosity with the research, if I were to research air power, it would let me move on to the next level of close air support, which is probably what I'm going to do. I mean, I could get fighters, but I honestly, if I were fighting a major nation, there's no way I'm going to get air superiority. But when I'm fighting minor nations, like, for instance, Siam, they have some planes, so maybe that would be a threat. But, like Iran, on the other hand, they also have planes. So, you know what? Maybe it would be a good call to get airplanes. We'll have to see. But as long as the Soviet Union holds out, we can at the very least gain from their research. It looks like the Soviet Union is doing a decent job of kind of holding out here, but it is still in the winter time, more or less. I mean, we're getting closer to the spring here. All right, so we just got our research, and we are producing older tech here, which is going to be our anti-tank, needs to be improved. And then research. We could continue on with the anti-air, and that only takes 86 days, so that's not too bad. And we also have upgraded artillery overall, which we can do this year as well. I figure we might as well do that. And continue. How are we doing as far as experience here? We almost are regular on most of our troops. We do have a new troop here, our tanks. I'm going to add the tank into the white army because I'd like to push on Siam if I get the chance. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll just make sure, I believe, what is it? Control click to assign selected units. Yeah, I just want to make sure that they're assigned to that line. Sometimes that doesn't happen necessarily when you add them to an army. So that will happen. We won't even have to set that guy up. And hopefully we'll be able to use that tank against the Siamese. I'm hoping they don't have any armor. And we'll just see. And how are we doing on our construction? Still working on that civilian factory. Might be a good call to increase the capacity of this airport, because it is the closest airport to the action. It'd also be nice to, as I said, upgrade the planes that we have, not only to increase their range, but also just to make them overall more effective. And what tech level would that even be for us if we look at that? Airplanes. That would actually be current tech, 1940, if we go to the Typhoon. I'm probably going to go for fighters here, though, a little bit. Just so that we have some ability to tackle some of these smaller nations. Okay, it looks like the Soviets are kind of holding out okay here. But as the weather improves, I have some concerns about that. We do see that they're definitely dropped in divisions. They went from 118 down to, they're almost dropping below 100. So they are losing divisions for sure. And hopefully they're recruiting like mad. I would hope that they are. They should have a ton of manpower at their disposal. Okay, so we have more units popping out here. So, again, I'm going to try and use the more mobile troops against Siam. And I'm going to put the, less mobile troops, like the mountain troops and the infantry, are going to go against the Chinese border. Just to make sure that we have this guys in here. We'll do that. Now, I don't have an offensive plan right now. And I could do that. It probably would be a good idea. Okay, so we just finished our tank research. Let's go ahead and go to the production here and switch it out. So Matilda was only produced for a very short period of time before we switch over to the Valentine tank. And let's go ahead and do our next research. So I'm happy with our tank research for now. I don't think I'm going to advance anything else. I think that's dividing our production capacity too much. So I figure we go on to maybe infantry equipment. We're a little bit behind on that. We could also improve and get APCs for our motorized stuff, which would probably be pretty good. You know what? I'm going to do that. That seems like an interesting idea. To get some APCs to attack the Siamese with, maybe. Now, we do have some motorized divisions over here against the Chinese border, so we're not completely devoid of them. But I think from here on out, that's going to be the strategy. We put the motorized and mechanized troops up against the Siamese border and go after Siam maybe a little bit more. Try and knock them out early. Although that will be tough now that they have down here and they've captured Singapore, because we're probably going to have to capture that ourselves to knock them out. So until I'm more confident with my ability to hold off the Japanese and their allies, I'm not going to get involved in this war over here. And I'm hoping the Soviets will be able to hold out on their own. Now, I am curious here if... Yeah, no, see, it's just Germany against the Soviet Union. And there is no allies of the Axis getting involved in this war. So that's very interesting. It's causing the war maybe to be slower than it should be. Like, if the Italians were involved, I think that would be a lot harder on... I'm going to make this unit 100 for now. It's a little bit further away than I'd like, but, you know, it's at least in the area. But this isn't too bad of a push from the Germans. As long as they stay out of Moscow, the Soviet Union should be fine. And even taking Moscow, I'm not sure if the Soviet Union would fall. Why are you moving troops that way? Please don't do stupid things, AI. Never really can tell sometimes. The Allies have been very quiet. Have they done much in Africa? It looks like all they've done is lose Egypt here. As a matter of fact, it looks like Cairo is going to fall here soon. Alexandria already has. I don't know why the AI is so inept at defending North Africa as the Allies. They almost always lose here, from what I've seen, and they almost put like no effort up. Like, this is still around. I'm not really sure why that is the case. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at this point, maybe Italy's putting all their resources into attacking North Africa, but we know what happened historically when Italy did that. I personally think that Italy is very overpowered in this game, and there's the fall of Cairo we were just discussing. I think Italy is far too powerful when the AI plays them. Now, you can buff nations, but for whatever reason, I mean, I would like maybe to see Italy to be a lot less powerful. I'm just saying. It seems like they... 8 to 18 divisions. That cannot be correct intelligence. Italy having 18 divisions at most. And they've conquered this much of North Africa. I cannot believe that. That must not be very good intelligence. Because there's no way that's true. Still, looks like I'm the only communist nation that did not get involved in the war. Okay, so we know these guys are going to be joining the Green Army. As a matter of fact, the easiest way to do that is just tell them to do that, and then they should join. Okay, so there's our focus. And now we can do our research slot, and we might as well, because we've been working towards it for quite a while. Then I'll probably grab these, not only because it gives me recruitable population, which means I can gear up the population even more, but it also gives me a couple infantry units that I would like to get for sure. I don't know if I'm going to go with jungle training, because we've already seen jungles are really not all that common. And I couldn't even do this even if I wanted to because I don't have this. And then outside of that, we could do stuff with our air force here. I mean, this will give us air bases, which is what I was talking about earlier. And then we could get some of these done. We can't do this. Any of these things. Over here... we can do Combined Arms Academy, which would help us a little bit. Yeah, that'd actually be pretty good to take at some point. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for the fact that this is a research slot, I'm probably going to do this one next. And then these are other things we can do later, I guess, once we run out of focuses. Let's do this one. Well, I guess we might as well watch the action. So now the Soviet Union's winning a lot of their battles. And it looks like they are moving troops possibly over to the front lines. So that's good to see. I mean, even with the spring coming, that's nice to see. I mean, Stalingrad's all the way over here. Moscow's up here. I mean, they've got a fair amount of distance to travel if they want to achieve what they did historically. And if it looks like Moscow's being threatened, I may actually step in here a little bit and send some troops over there. I don't know how much good I'll do, but I'll do something. Oh, that's interesting. There must have been a naval invasion that has now gotten cut off. Yeah, I'd like to see some more movement from the Allies attacking. Once the United States gets involved, it's going to be really tricky, I think, for the Axis. I'm going to assume that with the Japanese having the historical start, that they're going to do the war against United States at some point. And when that happens, I think Japan... Oh, hello. Okay, so Japan is officially in the war now. Who else is in the war? Okay, all of the allies of the Germany are involved in this war. Even Vichy France is involved. Okay. Interesting. So, we've got some Soviet fighting going on. I'm kind of glad I stayed out of the war because I don't think I would have been in a position to handle this, even though I do have allies on my border. And in theory, they could start attacking here, and it looks like they already have. I mean, I could be opportunistic and try and attack. Like, I think maybe I have a chance at... But look at this. Look at this buildup now. So, if Japan attacks me, then obviously I have no choice but to get involved. But I'm hoping to avoid this. It's quite obvious. Troops are building up over here, so... I'm actually tempted to send some of the troops I have up here in the north down to the south to join this, because it looks like we've got some buildup against me, and really not a fan of what might be happening here. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to stop exercising these troops. They're too close to the front line, and I'm afraid of getting attacked with low organization. So we're just going to have to sit put with what experience our troops have. Alright, so hopefully we can stay out of the war until maybe the the United States joins in. Okay, so we're in 1941, so I could go with more artillery things, but it probably would be a good idea to do infantry, the infantry equipment upgrade. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, especially as we have a research bonus now. And we do have the production that we're going to have to change here with the anti-tank. Not anti-tank, anti-air. And there's something else I want to check. Oh, yeah, this. So we're getting the infrastructure taken care of at this point. I'm going to move that civilian factory up so that that gets produced. And at this point, we should also be working on the military factory simultaneously. And we're on our war economy, so the military factory should get built quickly. Alright, so we did move some troops down here. We now have 12 divisions. I don't know how many divisions are against us. I'm going to assume much more than that. But it's, you know, it's at least something. Another thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start an offensive plan. It's going to be a simple one. And I'm going to focus more on the north here. So what I would like is something that goes... No, not the ocean. How about that? Something that goes... Getting this thing to paint how you want it to can be tricky. Okay, that might be a little bit too much, so let's not do that. Let's do something simpler. Something like that will be our offensive plan. to go after Bangkok. And that gives me some preparation time. Also, the French are doing quite well here. Must not be having much resistance. And then we also have some Canadian troops in here. Alright. So we just finished the Bren carrier. And we're pretty much good there. Have that being done. We're good there. I guess we can work on artillery. Also, we're into 41. I should be working on this stuff, shouldn't I? So we'll do this first because we have research. That was actually an oversight. I should have worked on that earlier. And as far as producing that, technically speaking, motorized does not replace necessarily. I mean, mechanized isn't necessarily replaced motorized unless you put that in the unit. So what we could do is we could switch a couple of these to be mechanized infantry. Which I think is a good call. Like that. So we have a combination of motorized and mechanized. And then I note that we do not have as many factories as we previously maybe had projected here. I'm going to back off on that. I would like to produce a Bren carrier. Bring that up. And then I don't have any factories for it, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off on the air power. We have more than enough there. I'm going to back off on the tanks. And we at least have one factory going on that. And hopefully, as we start building the military factories, we'll get some of that taken care of. All right. Well, I think this is a good point to go ahead and put a cut in the video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Yeah, things are looking a little scary here, but it looks like our Soviet allies are not doing too bad against the Japanese because the Japanese are really not defending all that much against at least the northern area here. It looks like Mongolia might take out this guy here, and we are having some movement into nationalist China because I'm sure the nationalist China has almost no troops. Yeah, none. So, I mean, technically, we could get involved in this war and make some ground, but the problem is Japanese have put a lot of troops against us specifically. I'm going to assume that's the AI, you know, putting emphasis on against the player rather than other AI, which honestly, I understand, but it can be a flaw in the AI's design at times. In any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.